So now what we need to do is that we need to create our first function that belongs to this controller. So to do that, I'm going to create here a function. I'm going to say public function, and then you can name it whatever you want. Let me name this function get data. Get data. And here, this function, I'm going to pass the request to it. I'm going to say here request, request, request. And make sure that the request class has been imported at the top here. You need to say here use illuminate \http \request. So this function now has been created, and this function does nothing. So let's do something here. Let's let this function return something. Let's say return here. Let's say return, and then let's return. Remember, let's return the view. Let's return this view. So let me here say return, and then view, and then index. I'm going to return to the index. So now, instead of using here the function here, let's now connect this root to the controller function, to this function, so that this function is going to be used instead of using this function. Instead of using this function, let's use the get data function to return the view. So to do that, we can here remove this completely, and then we can here at the top import the project controller. We can say here project controller, and then colon class, and then comma, and then the name of the function. So the name of the function is get data. So I'm going to say here get data, and then here close the bracket, and then semicolon. And at the top we need to import the project controller. So at the top we need to say, at the top here we need to say use app, and then \http controllers /project controller, and then semicolon. So I have imported the project controller, which is this, and here I said project controller class, and then I said get data. So what this does is that this URL is going to use the get data function of the project controller. So this URL, once you go to this URL is going to go to the project controller class, and then it's going to look for the get data, which is this function, and then it's going to return this index. Let me now save, and let me head on over to the browser. Let me save all, and let me head on over to the browser to show you that this is correct and it's going to work successfully. So let me head on over to the browser. So if you head on over to the browser and refresh, as you can see, what you are going to get is that you are going to get the view, which is the index, and it works successfully. And of course, make sure that your server is up and running. So if your server is not up and running, you need to run that server, as you can see, in order for this to work successfully.